I was 15 years old. I liked to play Counter-Strike Global Offensive, also called CSGO. I was into gambling, so I traded and talked to a lot of people. I stumbled over a person that was nice to me. He helped me with what team to bet on. After a few days, he said he had a friend. I was open-minded and had no problems talking to new people. The new person was mean to me in the beginning, but got nicer for the days that passed. We became better friends and talked to each other every day. But things got weird. He said that he wanted me to come to him and if we could meet up. I said I wasn't sure because I was so young. So the days went by and got even stranger. He got mad at me. I wasn't afraid because he was living in Canada and I was living in Sweden, so he couldn't do any harm to me or my family. But he started to self-harm and send me pictures. I got really scared for him. He traced my IP down and found so much about me. I didn't talk to him for a while, but he sent me so many messages. I just had to answer him. He said he was gonna kill himself. What was I gonna do? Not much I could do. So it was silent for a few months. I thought he had killed himself, and I thought it was my fault. But he contacted my friends and said he hadn't killed himself. It's been 2 years now, and none of us have heard from him since.
Number 2.
It was my 14th birthday, and my parents were letting me stay home alone for the night. We were out renting a cabin 5 miles from our home city. My parents were out at a party, so I would have the cabin to myself. The night started off slow. I browsed on demand and watched cringy SpongeBob episodes. At around 12, I fell into a void of darkness. The kind of darkness that made your body twitch and flood with sensations that no one or anything else could make you feel. A ringing erupted in my ears. I fluttered my eyes open and scowled. I bolted up and jumped off the couch, almost collapsing on the ground from being dizzy. I regained my balance and walked towards the sound of my alarm clock. I practically broke the receiver. "What?" I said in an annoyed tone. Loud breathing came from the other line. It was a man. What do you want?" I glared at the phone and almost slammed it into the receiver. Prank callers. I muttered as I walked back to the couch and played down again as I wasn't able to shut my eyes for a second before I jumped up seeing the clock. It was exactly 1 o'clock. What a coincidence. This had to be my parents, I thought, but they already checked up on me at 8. I gently pulled the phone off the receiver. Hey, I said, hiding my annoyance. That same cold, dark breathing came over the line. I widened my eyes. This guy had my phone number. It couldn't be a prank caller. "Don't call back, or I'll call the cops." The amount of confidence in my voice was rather false. I just wanted to scare him off. I placed the phone back on the receiver and groggily walked back towards the couch. Before I could lay down, that monstrous machine made that ring of hatred. If I had explosives, I would have blew the phone up. I stomped towards the phone, pulled it up. "Okay, buddy, I think you should fuck off if you don't want to end up in jail for harassment," I threatened. The same deep breathing echoed in my ears. The breathing that I will always remember. Except I heard a voice. "Aaron. Aaron. Aaron." It slurred. It was a deep voice. I froze. No. What the fuck? No. No. I thought that was my name. This had to have been some sick joke. I couldn't speak. My words only came out as a croak as my legs felt like they were melting. "How do you know my name?" were the only words I was able to make out. A loud laugh came from the other line. A haunting laugh. I jumped back. What the fuck? In the process, I dropped the phone.
Look in the attic.
I faintly heard. My yell was loud. It turned into a scream. I sprinted to the door, pulled it open, I ran. I ran so hard. Oh, I love the adrenaline. Those 5 miles from town felt like nothing. It seemed like 10 minutes until I got there. My fists hit a door, and a woman answered. I immediately told her to call the cops to my cabin. Minutes later, an officer was trying to knock some sense into me as I tried to calm down. "Did the man attack you?" the authority asked. No, he called me 3 times. On the last call, he said my name and to look into my attic. My face was blank, not allowing fear to escape. The officer explained 2 SWAT cars were on their way to my cabin. The cop called my parents and explained to them my situation. My parents immediately cut our trip short. We returned to the city, and nothing was ever said if he was caught. A year later, I still wonder why sometimes our house phone gets a call from a random number at a random time.
Number 3.
I can still remember the day like it was yesterday. The day started off like any other, nothing special or interesting, until closing time came. All the other employees were sent home a while ago, so it was probably around 10:30. I took all the money out of the cash register as I usually do every day. As I was leaving, I noticed that there was another car in the parking lot with 2 men, but I thought nothing of it since I shared a parking lot with a tech store. So I go to start my car and noticed they were going to leave as well. I could tell by their headlights turning on. So I start to drive home, and I noticed that they were following me, like a true naive idiot. Still, no red flags are going off in my head. This happens for about 5 minutes until I make my final turn to my house, where they continue driving as I pull into my driveway. I was so tired, I ended up falling asleep on my couch, and then it happened. I woke up at around 1 o'clock, because I hear the noise of the screen door being smashed in. Then I hear 2 people walking into my house. They see me awake and tell me to give them my family's car, jewelry, TV, and anything valuable. I can see that they're armed, so I guide them upstairs to my family's bedroom. I told them that it was best if I went in so my wife wouldn't scream. She wakes up to me going through her jewelry and taking it, so she says, "George, what are you doing?" So I tell her to just go back to sleep and not explain the situation, but she wouldn't go back to sleep. And then she walked out of bed, and the thieves notice this and tell her to come out too. They then flash their guns at her and tell her what was going on. Then they tell me to open the door to my son's bedroom, and I see a giant clutter. The leader, who I now know as Wolf, says there is nothing of value there, and closes the door. He takes us down to my dining room, ties me and my wife to a chair with duct tape they bought. They then put a gun to my head, but before they could pull the trigger, his partner, which I now know as Alex, says that he didn't come here to kill anybody. Wolf nods his head and says to me and my wife, "Don't call the police, or we will come back here and kill you." Wolf then exits my house, and Alex tells me that he's doing this for his pregnant girlfriend, who her as well as him are poor. They then leave and take both my car and theirs. After I was sure they left, I called the police because I didn't want people like that controlling my life. The cops arrived in very little time and assessed the situation at hand. About a week later, they caught them both and were able to get my car back, but not the jewelry. I don't remember the exact specifics, but I remember that Wolf was originally from Haiti, so he would serve around 30 years in prison and then be deported back to Haiti, while Alex, who was the younger one, and who turns out it wasn't his idea, got 30 years or so. Alex wasn't deported though, because he was born in America. I don't believe in a certain God, but I knew someone saved me that day. you.